What if you were totally limitless? What if you can achieve anything you wanted right now? What if you can be anywhere you wanted to be? What if you can create the reality that you've truly desired at the most deepest level of your essence? So in my talk, what we're going to do is we're going to make it interactive as possible. Is that okay with you? Yes? Yeah. Some nods? Yes. Yeah. Some? Well, impress me first. Okay, so let's do a little exercise first. I'd like for you to sit up straight, back against the chair, and then just close your eyes unless you suffer from epilepsy. This is no hypnosis, so don't worry. Put your hands on your lap, on your own lap, by the way. Yep. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathing in and out. And just pay attention to your breath and your breath alone. Breathing in slowly in through your nose and out through your mouth, nice and slowly. Take your time. Pay attention to your breath. Now, as you relax more and more and more, imagine you're floating around in space. And it's like you're on drugs, and I know none of you have taken drugs, so imagine you're high on something. But you don't have to take drugs for that. You're floating around and you've got this amazing feeling. Now you don't need to wear any astronaut uniform or anything like that because there's oxygen in this particular environment you're in. But after a while it gets a little boring. So you say to yourself, I wish there was somewhere for me to walk around, somewhere hard, something rocky, and in an instant, that's exactly what you're doing. You're standing on a rock. In fact, it's the size of planet Mars, and you're walking around, and it feels good because you're stretching your legs, you're exercising your body. But it looks bland and boring because all you see is rock and mountains and sand and dunes. And in your mind, you wish there were plants and trees and bushes and rivers and lakes, and in that instance, it's exactly what you get. You're like in the Garden of Eden. And you look around and you think, this is gorgeous, but there's something missing. Where's all the wildlife? So you wish for birds and bees and tigers and bears and lions, except the wild animals are further away, and the prettier ones, the nicer ones, are near you, and they're flying around you. You can hear the bees buzzing, the butterflies floating past you, and you take a deep breath and you enjoy that pure heaven. But after a while it gets a bit boring because there's no one around for you to talk to. So in your mind you think, I wish there were people like me, people who were nice, caring, kind, compassionate. And all of a sudden you're surrounded by people just like you. And you have conversations and you wine and dine together, you have a great time together. But it gets boring because you're always agreeing on stuff. They're exactly like you. In fact, they even look like you. So in that moment you think, I wish there were different kind of people, like tall people, fat people, skinny people, short people, dark people, light-skinned people, people with different hairstyles, people with different temperaments. And in that instance, you're surrounded by such a variety of people, and it's a lot more exciting because you can meet new people who are different to you, diverse. But it gets a bit overcrowded, so you think to yourself, I wish some of them were living in houses, others working, others traveling by cars and rail, by sea, by plane. And you look around you and you think, oh my God, I'm in Lancashire. Open your eyes. What if your life is purely your creation? What if the reality you created was exactly as you chose? Now, truth be told, most of you, most of us, don't create this reality consciously. We wouldn't create wars, right? We wouldn't create some of the stuff you talk about, hear about at this venue. So clearly, we're still creating it somehow. We're manifesting it into our life, into our world. So you imagine what's your name?
Wendy.
Wendy. So imagine Wendy is the master of the world. She's created the reality. And all of a sudden, what's your name?
Caroline.
Caroline turns up. Caroline's created a reality. So whose reality is real? Wendy's reality is real for her. Caroline's is real for her. It's all an illusion. And where you meet, that's the interesting point, because we attract into our life teachers all the time. Have you ever met people that you don't like? Maybe irritate you, upset you, traumatize you. They're your greatest teachers. You've heard about comfort zones, right? You do not grow going through life in your comfort zone. You only grow. The way we're designed, our body, our psyche, our energy is designed, you only grow through struggles. So every single one of you have been through struggles. My biggest struggle may be big for me. It might be very small for Wendy. Wendy's biggest struggle may be absolutely nothing for me, but it's big for her because it's her reality. So tonight isn't about pointing fingers at people, places and predicaments. It's all about taking responsibility. Are you up for that? Are you up for being challenged tonight? Yeah. Yep. Some of you? Are you up for being challenged tonight? Yeah. Okay, good, because I will challenge you. Here's the thing. I value every single one of your time. I've driven up 4.5. I've just come back from the United States after traveling for 2 months. And I've decided to go around the world. There's 196 countries in the world. And I figured out, based on the ones I've already covered, if I go to a new country a month, it'll take me 15 years to cover the whole world. So I can meet great teachers, ancient teachers, masters, leaders, etc. So I can learn, and where I can, I will help. And here's the thing. This will cost me money traveling, but I can always gain the money back, right? I can always earn it back. Now, you've traveled here, and there's one thing you can never gain back. You know what that is? Time. That is the only true scarce resource we have, is what you do with your time. So I honor you for being here because you're here to learn and grow. Or you could be watching whatever they show on TV. I don't have a TV. So whatever they're watching on TV, you could be watching that, watching YouTube or whatever. So I honor you even more because there's a lot more of you here sharing your time with me, and I'm going to give you my best. I'm going to give you 100%. All I ask for is nothing more and nothing less than 100%, because it's interesting, especially in the UK side of British society actually, we're very good, when I say we, I keep myself out of it, we're very good at suppressing our truth. You know why? It hurts. And yet, every single word anybody speaks can create, heal, or it can destroy and damage. So let me share with you some slides. I'm not a big one on slides, but I've got to show you some images here. All right. As a man thinketh. So, according to mainstream, July 1969, Neil Armstrong put his foot on the moon, took the first steps. I can't remember what the exact saying was. I was born later on that year. It was it one small step for man and a giant leap for mankind? What's interesting is the computing and the mathematical power was what got them from planet Earth to the moon or to some Hollywood studio. But it was a computing power. And what's even more fascinating, that wasn't supposed to be there, but let me tell you a bit about myself quickly. I've been in medical devices, I've been involved in functional medicine, engine medicine, healing. I'm a healing practitioner. I don't like to call myself a healer. I'm not comfortable with that term because you're all healers. You all heal yourself. So I kind of facilitate that. Also, I've written a number of books, although I've moved away from that genre. So my first book was called Shattering the Grandest Illusions, and it looks at the illusions such as war and medicine and education system, etc. And I perhaps will tell you why I moved away from that. And I'm also an international trainer. Now, the iPhone 6, this thing here, iPhone X has just come out. This is supposedly 120 million times more powerful than all the computers they took to get the first man onto the moon. 120 million times more powerful. Amazing, right? Things you can do with this. Your body contains 80 to 100 trillion cells. Every single individual cell of your body is like an individual version of you. They breathe, they digest, they excrete, they have a brain of their own, of course. Why is it so important to understand this? Because your first teacher is your body. Have you ever been in a situation where perhaps you come to an event like this and you meet someone for the first time and you go, such a nice person. You haven't even said a word, yeah? Or maybe, probably not here, but somewhere else, you went along and you go, ugh, I want to keep away from them. Ever happened to you? That's your body talking to you. And if you don't believe me, I mean, I know there's a lot of health foods stuff out there. If you're dehydrated, what happens to your urine? Comes out yellowy, orangey, right? So your body is telling you, you need to get hydrated. If you got a headache, you're either not sleeping enough or dehydrated. Could be other conditions, but they are the first things. Water, bring more water. So your body is a great teacher. Now, going back to the brain, there's a computer called the Super K computer, which was, I think it was in Japan, they built 82,000 processors. So just imagine 80,000 computers brought together to try to mimic the brain. And what they found was that they can only mimic 1 second of the power of your brain, of our brain, over a 40-minute period. What's also interesting is that this iPhone gets 3 billion instructions per second. It's absolutely nuts, right? 3 billion instructions per second. But your brain gives 6 billion instructions per second. So that's a lot of zeros. I can't even fathom that kind of number. We pay attention to the brain, the thinking mind, but we don't really give it the credit it deserves. But there's something even more powerful than this there. So your human body needs food and water, of course. You can survive without food for about 40 days as long as you have water. But water, if you go without water for 3 days, you're dead. Now, 70% of your body is water, approximately, some parts by mass and volume. And according to Professor Voyakov from, I can't remember which university, he's a Russian professor, he's studied water for the last 40 plus years. And according to him, by molecular structure, 99% of your body is H2O. So, which means we're more like jellyfish than you can even possibly imagine. So, the quality of your water is not just important on a physiological level, but from a spiritual and mystical level, which I'll perhaps talk about later on. Oxygen, any kind of disease, for those of you particularly if you're researching cancer, any kind of disease, the first thing that any disease cell needs is oxygen. Cancer can only exist in anaerobic conditions. So today I'm not going to focus too much on that. That's a longer presentation. So oxygen is important. And when I say oxygen, I don't just mean breathe. Because sometimes you can breathe and the oxygen doesn't reach the cells of your body. And if it's a cancerous area, then it's been blocked off and it's, the cells survive through fermentation.